Hi, welcome back to Cracking the Cryptic. Goodness me, this shirt might not work very well on the camera, looking at my picture on the webcam. But anyway, what I want to do today is another Sudoku from a different part of the world. So I think hopefully over the days and months we'll work our way throughout the globe. We've already done a puzzle recently from Taiwan, so we've done that one. And where else did we do? We did India just the other day. So Taiwan and India, and today we're going to do one that's been sent from Israel. So Amit, thank you very much for sending that, and hopefully it'll pop up on the screen in just a second. Now Amit said he typed this puzzle into a solver, and it came up with a variety of exotic techniques that were required. Now I don't know what we're going to find as we go through. But I'm going to go a little bit slower on this puzzle today. We've had a couple of comments recently to say that we do a lot of very hard puzzles on the channel, and that's true. And could we maybe go a bit slower once in a while just to really take people through? So I'm going to try and do that. Now fives, and these two fives down here. That means that this square here is the only place we can place a 5 in this bottom 3x3 block. Now, what else can we see? You see, we have a lot of digits already in this 3x3 block. We're only left with 4, 6, and 7 to place, and there's 2 6s here. So this is going to be 6, and we can pencil mark 4s and 7s into the open positions. And I do recommend that you do that. Should definitely try and highlight or keep a record of all pairs. Now we have a 5 over here and this 5 here, and they interact on this block. They force a 5 into one of those two squares, and now you can see that once we use this 5 and one of these 5s, there'll be a 5 in one of those two squares, and this 5 here resolves which is the correct 5. And it allows us to place another pencil mark now in the top row, this 5 here, this 5 here, and this 5 here. Just having a look at column 1, where we need numbers 1, 3, and 7, and we have a 1 and a 3 already in row 8. So this square here can only be a 7. It's the only possibility, and we need to keep a record somehow that there's a 1, 3 here and a 1, 3 here. Now I'm just going to pencil mark that for the time being, because as I said before, it's a pretty powerful thing to find a pair in a row, column, or box. Now this 7 and this 7, now I can see they interact to give me a 7 in one of those two squares. 4, we're looking to place 4, 8, and 9 in this row. There's an 8 here, so that means there must be an 8 in one of those two squares. And now can you see how that sort of echoes back into this 3x3 now? We have an 8 here, so there's an 8 in one of these two squares, and again this 8 now tells us which is the correct position. This sort of 2x2 arrangement in a block, always try and get to that reasonably early, because if we slide this 6 up here, you can see that's forcing a 6 into one of those two squares. Well, we know this can't be a 6 already because we've labelled it as a 1 and a 3, so in fact this square here is the only place a 6 can go. And that allows us to unwind the 6s in this 3x3 block. We know the 6 was locked into one of these two squares, but now it can't be in this one, it must be in the other one. This is the advantage of the pencil marks. So we can place a 6 here. In doing that, we remove one of the two positions we'd locked the 5 into, so we know this must be the 5. And now all that's left to do is to pencil mark in the results of that. So we get a 6s here, and 5s, 5s, and this 5 here, so we lock 5s into one of those two squares. 8s now, these two 8s are locked in there. 7s. And this 8 here and this 8 here mean there's only one place that an 8 can go now in column 6. It can only go in this square. Obviously it's ruled out from this square by this one, and this 8 removes these two positions, so just this square can be an 8. And this is the second way that we can use our pencil marks to our advantage. So here we haven't resolved where the 8s go in columns 7, 8 and 9. But we can resolve it, because if we look, we've managed to lock an 8 into one of these two positions in this 3x3 block, i.e. in columns 8 and 9. We know that the 8 in this 3x3 block is either in column 8 or column 9. Now if we now look at this 3x3 block, our pencil marks are telling us exactly the same thing. We've managed to lock the 8 into column 8 and column 9. Now that means when we come down to the last 3x3 block, here, we can't have another 8 in column 8, for example, because the implication of an 8 here will be that this is an 8 and this is an 8, and we'll get a repeated 8 in column 9. So this can no longer be an 8. We have to put an 8 somewhere in column 7, and that's the only place it will go. And then we're looking at 4 and 9 to complete this row. So again, I'm going to highlight that. Oops, 4 and 9, like that. I'm going to check column 6 because we already have 6 numbers in there. You can see we need a 2, a 7 and a 9. And again here we have a 2 here and a 2 here. So there's only one position left for the 2. That's got to be there. Now we need a 7 and a 9 to complete the column, and there's a 7 here. So in fact this will have to be the 9 and this will be the 7. And the only thing that we must do now is to make sure we use this information as much as we can, because I can immediately see we're going to make some progress from the back of this. So let's start with the 9s. 9 here, and 9 here. So we can pencil mark 9s into those two squares. 9 here and 9 here, so we can pencil mark 9s into these two squares. Now we could pencil mark 9s at the bottom here as well. 9s have got to go into those two squares. Let's do that. I'll try and remember that this is a 4-9 pair there. So what were the other numbers we pencil marked? We found this 7. So does that do anything in terms of additional pencil marks? Nothing I can immediately see. And we found this 2. Now this 2 is powerful because we have a 2 here and a 2 here. So we know the 2 in this 3x3 block is going to be in one of these two positions. And look, there is a 2 there. So that tells us that this is the 2. And again, the moment we place the 2 here, we get to place the 8 as well. And now you can see there's a few things we can do again off the back of this. The 2s, let's make sure we pencil mark them. 2's down at the bottom there. The 8, well now this can no longer be an 8, so we're forcing an 8 into this square, and the effect of doing that is immediately we get the 5 as well. So now all that we have to do is to make sure again we use the information we've just sort of generated. This 5 is forcing a 5 into this square in the center. And pencil mark 6 is there, I can see that. And I would take a look at row 6. So we need to place 3, 4 and 9. Now you can see again, if you look carefully, one of those numbers is ruled out from 2 of the positions. So this 9 here stops there being a 9 here. This 9 here stops there being a 9 here. So in fact this is the only place a 9 can go. And we're left with 3 and 4 into these two open positions. But, no, okay. Well there's a trick we can do now. I'll just have a quick look to see if there's anything I can see well, actually I'm not going to look, I'm just going to show you the trick. Now, let's have a look at, we've just identified this 3-4 pair in row 6. Now, if we look at this 3 by 3 block, so I scanned down when I saw the 3 and the 4 here to see whether I managed to pencil mark any 3s and 4s in this 3 by 3 block, because if I had, maybe I could have eliminated one of the options. Now, I haven't managed to pencil mark anything very significant in here, except that if we look at this square, I know this is a 1 or a 3. Now, what does this mean? Well, this means that in this 3 by 3 block, the 4s are locked into a choice of positions. They are either appearing somewhere in column 2, or they are appearing somewhere in row 9, or indeed both. I mean, obviously if this was a 4, then both those conditions would be satisfied. Now, this is a very interesting pattern, because we can now actually eliminate a 4 from this square. Now, I really recommend, if you can't see immediately how to do that, do pause the video and have a think about it. This is called an empty rectangle. And in effect, the rectangle in this block is hard to see because it's made up of this square, this square, this square, and this square. But the logic isn't too difficult to understand. If the 4s, and the logic arises, just to be very clear, because there is a binary situation as regards the 4s, i.e. we know they are either in column 2 or they're in row 9. Now let's think about row 9. Let's think about one of these being true. If one of these is true, clearly we can eliminate this 4. That's very simple. If it's not true, if the 4s are not in row 9, they must be in column 2. But this is nice now, because now we get to use our 4-3 pair. If the 4s are in column 2, this is not a 4, and therefore this is a 4. And if this is a 4, this is not a 4. So the critical thing to realise is whichever of the binary states exists regarding 4s in this 3 by 3 block, there is never a 4 in this square. And that gives us the 7. This is a 7. And therefore this is a 4. That means the 4 is locked into 3 positions there. I'm not actually going to highlight the 3 positions. I don't think we necessarily need to. But let's try and see what we can do with the 7. You can see we can pencil mark 7s at the top there, into those 2 squares, because of the 7 here, the 7 here. And this square can no longer be a 7, because this 7 rules it out. So let's put a 7 in there. You can see, again, that's going to force a 7 to this square. It's the only place a 7 can go in its 3 by 3 block. And in turn, that will allow us to place 7s into those 2 squares. 4, 6, and 9 now. So looking at this 3 by 3 block, you can see we need a 4, 6, and a 9 to complete it. This 9 here actually allows us to pencil mark 9s at the top, so this square must be a 4. And now, look at that. So we had a 4-9 pair. I think I removed the 4 from this side. So we've got a 4-9 pair, but we now have found a 4. So this one must be a 9. Therefore, this one must be the 4. Now this must be a 9 from unwinding our earlier pencil marks. And therefore we can unwind our 3-4 pair in row 6. And all of a sudden, we're not there yet, but we're certainly making quite reasonable progress. This 9 here unwinds the 9 and the 6, puts a 9 into this square because of the 9 up here. So this 9, and this 9 interacting on this 3 by 3 block. That gives us a 9 here, just unwinding our earlier pencil marks. And it would be surprising now if the puzzle has any more detailed logic. This 6 is forced by the fact that we have a 6 here and a 6 here. We need a 1 and a 3 to complete column 8 there. So this square is going to have to be a 4 to complete the box. Therefore this square here must be a 3 to complete the column. And now you can see we're getting into the stage where it's just an elimination. The Sudoku's been reduced, I think, to being trivial, with 3 here, and this 3, this is a 3, therefore this is a 1, therefore this must be a 1. Unwind the pencil marks with a 7, this is a 1, this is a 3. We still need to put a 7 into row 2 here, so let's put that in. This must be a 3, this must be a 3. 1 and 2 down here to complete this block. Let's put those in. That unwinds the 2 pencil mark here, and a 4 should complete both column 7 and row 9. This must be a 1. See, the 1s now interact. They're going to force a 1-7 pair into these 2 squares, and this one here resolves the order. 2 and 4. And if everything's worked out well, we should be able to complete the puzzle by putting a 3 here and a 2 there. So there we go. Sudoku, expert Sudoku, that from all the way from Israel. I love the internet. I love the fact that we can do these puzzles from all the way around the globe. It really is it's great fun. So I hope you enjoyed watching me solve. If you did, please subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate it. And we'll be back soon with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where I will not wear this shirt. See you soon.